in heaven. Granny's so cool, she wants to take her and her friend Milda on a cruise to Alaska so they can look at polar ice caps and get seasick. Granny's so hot, she wants to live and die and retire in Arizona and stop calling her grandkids on their birthdays because she's so wasted on margaritas on the golf green. Cat calling the caddies. Granny's so talented. She went to Berkeley, met a gas station dude named George who worked her way to the bathroom, going exactly where her Polish father said she was going to go when he told her she would eventually fuck her way to the middle. Granny's so sad she grew up in a small town during the Second World War and ate lard and moldy bread just to make it through another day, praying to the good God above that she could just end it all. Granny's so cold, she lives in the house that her kids have moved out of and drinks alone, sobbing over her favorite photo of when she and George were on their first date. And when they ate popcorn and she melted over his burgundy eyes and discovered that his heart was not hollow. Granny on a mean streak, so she starts telling little 5-year-old Jimmy down the road that his mother doesn't love him, but she's only projecting because Granny's mama wasn't around much due to her flighty nature and her thirsty gullet.
Oh my
Granny
God.
ain't here, but she's okay because she really meant well and had a ton of love in her heart, but didn't know how to show it because she was raised in a world where being feminine and presentable was priority number one. Finding a husband was just as important, and crossing her heart and hoping to die was the only way to escape the incessant nagging in her head about hoping how she could just escape this misery. Granny felt love, but she felt quiet. My body is rejecting me and my skin is sick, tossing streamers of pink and pale, making jokes with clowns' polka dots, listing insecurities in the dermatology circus on cheek stage left, working with the sun to shine on multicolored button spots to close up holes from the outside in, liquid cover-up as cement over potholes so the trace of finger vehicles don't peel out on peeling neck. My body is rejecting me and my brain is gone. Baby packed her guts to hit the open road, to follow her fellow peers towards a sea of animals, pursuing progressions of self. The desire to belong lies in the sky, in acrobatics where freaks can be heard, swallowing knives and breathing fire. Join our college, you. We listen, brain and skin, but we hear nothing because baby left and skull is empty. Neurons can't clash when calls of your limbs shout. My body is rejecting me, and my blood is silk, not red hanging from ceiling and tied with dancers, twirling in whirlwinds, but gray and tangled yarn connections, headed face first to floor, tumbling free fall so concrete fills me as anxiety, received in ventricles and arteries. Construction workers break stone. They build the towers of my innards to be taller than the shortest man alive. He joined the circus and I'm just following suit. My body is rejecting me and it continues to rebel. Body was raised to be better than this, but she's not meant to be held down. She's got friends tied with yarn. You've met people with ego elephantitis and they bring families to sit in the stands, jolly laughing with Christmas bellies. But I will just continue to sit, bite my lip, close my eyes, and wait for the drum beats to subside so I can fall asleep hoping that one day my body will greet me with open arms. We'll begin with measurements of cotton swab people, clearing the ears of the world so that everyone else can hear better. And if modesty were the best policy, you'd be the American gun law of satisfactory emotions. I'm avoiding everybody. Socialite anxiety. Okay, baby, I'm not here to reassure you that you're loved, or to play up on your insecurities, or to kiss your boo-boos when they're gushing so that I get blood on my mouth. Put me back in the closet with your other cloaks. I'm pulled from the wardrobe to make sure you're okay, because I know you're not. None of you are. I'm a walking, talking baby blanket. I become a susu for girls that I love, a nipple that feeds the gorilla's mouth so it can leave and continue on its Godzilla path. But he's kicking and screaming, pissing and moaning. It's like I'm always asked to be on, like the sun vomiting vitamin D on faces so they can follow plan A of just not dying. Vultures are chewing the carcass of a body named advice. Vampires sucking the blood of humans named support, followed by illustrious squeals of joy, ready to move on with the day until they come back, fiending for skin in time. This is an anti-ode de femme. You used to talk about us running away together, building an island made of used plastic bottles and dog hair, changing our names to Menace and Maud as you fall asleep with your head in the clouds, but that isn't happening. Because I'm sick of you calling me when you're at work at the flower shop, selling half-wilted orchids at double the price, snorting the earnings up your nose as the meadow wind sweeps, pushing us through the rolling hills while I stand, ever the tumbleweed. And you talk to me when you're sad as if I will stick to the bottom of your shoes like your makeup-smeared Kleenex. Like snot blisters forming on ankles. I stopped chewing your bones long enough to write this, but you expect everyone to know how much you love elephants. The tedium of wondering why, but nobody seems to ask you. Why you keep canoe shrines above your bed. You talk to clocks while you stare, wishing that they would stop. This is an anti-love song, because if I were pro any of this, it would be anticlimactic. Like when your computer dies before you see the end of the film. This one just keeps going long enough to see who perishes first.